Imagine your wedding day, but instead of law, the stakes are life and death for your entire tribe. One decision, one dowry, could mean peace or war in the Arabian desert. Picture a windswept camp beneath a blazing sun. Banners snap in the wind. Camels groan as they kneel, and two rival chiefs lock eyes across a sea of anxious faces. In the center stands Fatima, the daughter of the tribe's leader. Her hands trembling is bartered in tense negotiations. For Fatima, marriage is not just a personal milestone, it is a move in a high stakes game of survival, honor, and legacy. Tonight, we'll journey deep into the heart of pre Islamic Arabia, where marriage was a public contract, a tool of diplomacy, and sometimes a matter of life and death. We'll meet recurring characters like Fatima and Zayd, whose lives illuminate the human side of these ancient customs. Along the way, we'll see how Islam transformed these traditions, and we'll ask what these stories reveal about our own evolving ideas of love, family, and identity. So, get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about marriage, history, and the ties that binds us. Let us set the stage. The Arabian Peninsula. Before Islam, in an era known as Jahiliyyah, the so-called Age of Ignorance, here the map is a patchwork of fiercely independent tribes. Each tribe guards its honor, its lineage, its survival with unyielding determination. Marriage is not a private affair, but a public institution, a strategic alliance that echoes through generations. Visualize it: an animated map of Arabia, tribal territories outlined in bold colors, shifting as alliances form and dissolve. Every union is a political act, every dowry a statement of power. The Arabic language itself reveals the complexity of marriage. Terms like zawaj, izdiwaj, and tezewuj hint at the many forms this institution could take. But what did marriage actually look like? According to the Hadith, the recorded sayings and actions of Prophet Muhammad, considered a primary source of Islamic law and history, Aisha, the Prophet's wife, described four distinct types of marriage practiced in pre-Islamic Arabia. 1. Formal marriage with dowry and guardian, called nikah. This is closest to what many would recognize as marriage today. The groom's family negotiates with the bride's guardian, usually her father or eldest male relative. The dowry, or mahr, is discussed sometimes 100 camels or more. Only when all parties agree does the marriage contract become binding. Second, mut'a, the temporary marriage. A man and woman agree to marry for a set period. No guardian's approval is needed. The contract ends automatically. This practice was controversial even then and remains debated among Muslims still today. Third, shigar, the exchange marriage. Two men agree to marry each other's daughters or sisters, waiving the dowry. No camels change hands, just a mutual pact. This practice commodified women and was later forbidden in Islam. 4. Polyandrous arrangements. In rare cases, a woman could have multiple husbands. When she gave birth, she could assign paternity to one of them, often with the help of a soothsayer. Marriage, above all, was about reinforcing the tribal bonds. Endogamy, marrying within the tribe, was the norm. cousin marriage, especially between paternal cousins, kept wealth and honor, quote, in the family. The tribe's survival depended on numbers. More children meant more warriors, more workers, more defenders. Women's roles were complex. While most marriages were arranged by fathers, stories survive of women asserting their agency. Hind bin Utbah, a woman of formidable reputation, is said to have negotiated her own marriage terms. These stories remind us that even in the patriarchal societies, women's voices could sometimes be heard. Social hierarchy shaped every union. The concept of kafaa, compatibility, meant that the nobles married slaves. Slaves married slaves. Marriages between free men and slave women were rare and often stigmatized. The Quran reflects this, allowing marriage to believing slave women only under necessity, while expressing a clear preference for unions among free people. Early Islamic leaders like Ibn Abbas warned against marrying slaves, citing both social and spiritual risks. Taboos existed, but were sometimes broken. The historian Strabo, writing from outside Arabia, claimed that some Arabs married their mothers, though later scholars clarified these were likely stepmothers, not biological parents. The story of Hajib bin Zurara of Beni Tamim, who married his father's wife, shows how customs could bend or break, especially among the elite. Male kinship, or fosterage, added another layer of complexity. If two children were nursed by the same woman, they became milk siblings, forbidden to marry each other. This system, later codified in Islamic law, created intricate webs of kinship and alliance. Let us return to Fatima. As her father negotiates with the rival chief, her fate is not just a personal matter. It is a move in a larger game, one that could bring peace or spark conflict. Her story is echoed in countless others, where marriage was a matter of tribal survival. Now, step into the heart of a pre Islamic wedding. Imagine the scene. The desert air is alive with the scent of frankincense and roasting lamb. Drums and flutes fill the night as guests gather under a canopy of stars. This is more than a celebration. It is a public declaration of alliance and hope. Central to the marriage contract was the mahr, the dowry. But this wasn't a mere gift. The mahr was a statement: the groom's family's wealth, the bride's value, the family's honor. Picture a line of camels, each more splendid than the last, paraded before the assembled guests. In some cases, the dowry reached astronomical sums, 100 or even 150 camels, making the negotiation a high stakes affair. A marriage without mahr was considered illegitimate, an insult to the woman and her family. Over time, the mahr evolved. Originally paid to the bride's family, it shifted to become the bride's personal property by the eve of Islam. The subtle change recognized women's rights within marriage, a principle later formalized in Islamic law. Not all marriages followed this script. In shigar marriages, two families exchanged daughters, waiving the dowry entirely. Imagine the tension: two fathers, each eager for alliance, agreeing to trade their daughters. No camels, no gold, just a handshake and a pact. But this practice was fraught with controversy and was later forbidden in Islam for commodifying women and undermining their rights. The wedding ceremony itself, called Urs or Umrah, was an event of spectacle. Some celebrations lasted a week, hence the term Usbu. Guests offered prayers for the couple's happiness, especially for many sons. The walima, or the wedding feast, was a highlight, open to rich and poor alike. Prophet Muhammad would later encourage even the simplest feast, emphasizing generosity and inclusion. Superstitions lingered. Marrying during the month of Shawwal was considered unlucky, a belief the Prophet challenged by marrying Aisha in Shawwal to dispel such fears. Let us turn to more controversial unions. The Hadith of Aisha outlines several types of marriages that stretched or broke the boundaries of tradition. As we mentioned, we had the mut'a, the so-called temporary marriage. Picture a caravan leader far from home arranging a temporary union for companionship. No guardian's consent needed. The contract ends after a set period. Children from such unions belong to the mother's tribe with no claim on the father's lineage. Another was istibda, where a husband asks his wife to conceive with a nobleman to, quote, improve the family lineage. Another was hidden, the so-called practice of secret lovers, where union was hidden from the community. Another was makt, where inheritance of stepmothers by male relatives was the practice. Most of these practices were later forbidden by Quran, as Islam sought to establish clearer boundaries. Let us pause and ask, would you trade your daughter for another's? No dowry, no say? How would you feel if your marriage was decided this way? Imagine the whispers at a feast when a man arrives with a new wife, his former stepmother. How do the elders react? These scenarios were not just theoretical, they were lived realities, full of drama and tension. As we peel back the layers of these customs, we find practices that might seem shocking today but made sense within their historical context. It is crucial to remember what seems strange or even wrong to us now was often necessary for survival in the past. Take polyandry. Though rare, some women had multiple partners. When a child was born, the mother would publicly assign the paternity, sometimes with the help of a soothsayer. For prostitutes, called bagaya, their tents were marked with a flag, and paternity was declared by custom. These arrangements, marginal as they were, showed a society where lineage and survival often outweighed romantic ideals. Polygyny, one man with multiple wives, was more common, especially among the elite. There was no formal limit. Some men had up to 10 wives. With the advent of Islam, the Prophet Muhammad, though his own marriages were being an exception, instructed the converts to reduce their wives to 4, establishing a new ethical framework. Still, historical studies suggest most men remained monogamous, challenging modern stereotypes. Child marriage is another practice that raises difficult questions today. In pre-Islamic Arabia, girls were often married before puberty, with social acceptance coming after childbirth. Islamic law did not abolish this custom. Classical commentaries on Surah At-Talaq discuss waiting periods for divorced girls who had not yet menstruated. The marriage of Aisha to Prophet Muhammad is often cited in this context. While most jurists considered such marriages permissible, dissenting voices like Ibn Shubruma and Abu Bakr al-Assam questioned the practice. Today, this history prompts important ethical debates about context, culture, and evolution of religious law. Arrival of Islam brought both continuity and change. Many pre-Islamic customs persisted, but others were reformed or abolished. The Quran set clear boundaries, forbidding marriage to stepmothers, banning the inheritance of women against their will, and emphasizing consent, justice, and mutual respect. Yet, as with any profound social transformation, old and new coexisted, sometimes uneasily, for generations. Let us dramatize this with Zayd's story. Zayd, a respected elder, has 6 wives. When he hears the Prophet's instruction to keep only 4, for Zayd, Each wife represents a different alliance, a different promise. How could he choose? In the quiet of his tent, Zayd weighs his options, torn between loyalty, love, and duty. The wives, too, wait anxiously, each wondering if she will be chosen, each with her own hopes and fears. The community watches, aware that Zayd's decision will ripple through the tribe. Zayd might possibly have said, for each wife, I remember a promise, an alliance forged, a feud ended, a family joined to mine. How do I honor my word, my heart, and my faith all at once? These moments of change were deeply personal, fraught with emotion and uncertainty. The transformation of marriage customs was not just a matter of law, it was a matter of lived experiences. Why does this history matter? Why should we care about the marriage customs of people who lived over 1,000 years ago in a distant desert? Because these stories reveal how societies negotiate change, how they balance tradition and reform, and how the past continues to shape our present. The tension between inherited customs and evolving values is a universal human experience. It is important to remember that debates over practices like polygamy and child marriage are not unique to Islam or to Middle East. Across the world, societies have grappled with similar issues. In India, dowry systems and arranged marriages have evolved over centuries. In parts of Africa, bride price and polygamy remains points of debate. In medieval Europe, political marriages shaped kingdoms. These parallels remind us that every culture has wrestled with the questions of law, power, and tradition. Let us make this personal. Think about your own family, your own cultural traditions. How have they changed over time? What customs have been preserved, adapted, and or abandoned? Have you or your family experienced traditions around marriage that changed over time? Share your story below. Let's build a tapestry of global customs together. And let us not forget the ongoing debates. Across the globe, questions about marriage law, women's rights, and the meaning of family are as urgent as ever. From reforms in Muslim majority countries to discussions about consent and equality, the story of marriage is still being written. Thank you for joining me on this journey through the world of pre-Islamic and early Islamic marriage. If this exploration challenged your assumptions or sparked new questions, let us keep the conversation going. Share your thoughts, experiences, and cultural comparisons in the comments below. Your perspective matters. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to help others discover these hidden histories. Because in every marriage contract, every family story, we find the history of an entire people and the seeds of our future. History is not just about past. It is about understanding ourselves, our societies, and the possibilities of our future. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and remember, every tradition has a story, and every story has something to teach us.